So once again, my name is Kehinde Akinrinwa, and I think we have to start because we have a lot to cover since we're just going to have 2 classes before the internship class starts. And we are going to be covering some things that has to do with web development. We are going to try to slow down so that anybody that has not even done anything like programming or web design before, will be able to start up with us and be able to grab a couple of things, and should be able to also do what we are going to do in terms of design a website from scratch. Also, we are going to be extending this probably next week to doing a bit of WordPress installation and using WordPress to design websites. But today we want to try as much as possible to cover the grounds of website development, understanding the basics of web development, the tools. If you want to say something, you can type it in the chat box if you want to say something. So like I'm saying, we want to cover basics of web development, the tags, understanding how to use the tags, and also what are the things that we need to build a website, how we are going to use our editors to build a website, how we are going to launch our website, and how we'll integrate both HTML and CSS in the development of our website. So a website are a set of files that are linked together to give information to the audience. I'm very sure a website is not a strange thing to all of us. We have been browsing websites and we have been clicking around websites. But now we are going to the rudiment of how those pages of website are actually created, how they are linked from one page to the other, how the images that you see get to be arranged, how the menu on those websites get to be arranged in a way that it's easy for you to navigate around on your website. So I will share my screen now while we are going to look at some basics before we now go into details. Let me share the whole screen. Okay. 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 So I believe everybody can see my screen now. If you can see my screen, please type yes. Great Major, thank you. You can see my screen. Before we go on, I want everybody to be on the same page. Okay. 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 Now, to build a website, just like you have seen, for example, this is a website of gift rates. This is a website, for example. This is a website, for example. To build a website like this, it must have been designed, or professionally designers, we call it storyboard. Some will call it a wireframe, but it must have been structured out that this is where we are going in an editor or a design package. Most of the time, it's always there are specialized tools that we use in designing these storyboards. They are tools that are more or less like they are similar to image editor applications. they are used to create this design, and it is going to be presented to probably the client before you now go ahead and start converting them into codes. So we are going to look at a basic one today. I'm going to also introduce to another one. A website needed to be designed, structured out. You don't just go ahead to your editor and start programming. You have to, you must have done your analysis by doing a structural design of the website before you go and start programming the website. So I want to introduce you to, there is Adobe Xd. I started using it some months back, and it's a very powerful tool. And there is a free tool, it's a free version of that. I'm going to copy that to the, I'm going to copy that to the, there is a free version of Adobe Xd anyway. So I'm going to copy that to the chat. You should be able to download a free version of the Adobe Xd for yourself to design your website. So in just a minute, let me just quickly show you how it works. I will also send you a video. Let me also send you a video. I try to prepare these things so that it will help you very fast in understanding the basics of what we want to do. I'm also sending you a video, a quick video on how to use the Adobe Xd. What the Adobe Xd does is it helps you in designing your interfaces for a website. For example, if you are designing a mobile app or a website, it tells you the size, you allow you to pick the different sizes of the website, because websites can come in different sizes in terms of the width of the website. For example, you can see that it's telling you is equal to 1920 by 108. That is the width and the height of that particular website. And if it's a mobile app that you are designing, it allows you to choose from different sizes. You understand? iPhone, Android, and you can also specify. So if you pick a particular, I'm doing web, it's going to tell you this is the size of the website. You can drag around. You can import images to the website. You can do a layout grid that allows you to actually pick the size, the number of squares that you want to have on the. So you do your design, you put in your boxes, you put in your images, and you do your design here before you now take it to the major, before you now start doing the actual programming of the site. All these colors, everything must have been done in design. So just like I told you, just using this, but I've sent you the links of actually how to use this, but I think it's a more professional tool for you to learn how to use. If you really want to go into this, it's just, I've sent you videos, so it's not that you're reading something. And the tool, just like I told you, is free to a good extent that you can use. But today, I'm going to be using this other tool to actually do a storyboard of our website. So I'm not going to the code straight. I'm just going to show us around. Let us have a pictorial view of websites. I took my time to prepare this background. For example, most of the time when you get to website, you see that websites do have background images. You can see this website now. It's having some background images. Let me go to the major site. You can see it's having some background images, some logos, some menus, and a lot of items. So if you have to do this website, you must have done a design of where you are going to before you start programming the website. So that is what we are going to do first before we start developing. But before we do the website we want to do, I want to also, some things are more important than actually going ahead and doing a basic website, a complete website. We are going to, I want to tell you the basics of developing a website. If you have to design a website, you will need an environment with which to write your codes. You will need an environment whereby you write your code. Today, I'm going to be introducing you to, I'll mention two, VS Code and Sublime. Sublime they are both free to a good extent. VS Code is also very free, but actually the most popular code editor in the world right now, according to analysis of developers. It's actually very free, and let me send you a link to that, to the editor, to this. I'm also sending that to the. You can't view my screen. Please, if you can view my screen, say yes. Or yes, I can. Ayodiji Falade, you can't view my screen. You log out and log in again. So this is the website of VS Code. It's the stable build. You download it for either you are using a Mac or a Windows or a Linux system. Then you download and install. It's just basic software. You can see all the links to download. They are right here. Also, you can use Sublime. Sublime is also a very popular editor for you to edit your code. So I use both, and they are great tools. There are a whole lot of other editors that you can use to write your code. There are Notepad, lots of them, Visual Studio. You can actually also use the normal Notepad. You can use the normal Notepad. You understand? You can use the normal Notepad to write your code. So you can use the normal Notepad to write your code. But today we are going to be using VS Code, and I'm going to start a VS Code from scratch so that we can see how it starts up. So when you start your VS Code, you're going to get something like this. Trying to align it so I can drag it around. Oh shit. Okay. I believe you can also see my screen anyway. I want to drag it into the okay. Okay. All right. Okay. Thank you, Anthony, for telling Falade to do that. Okay. Now we have the VS Code installed, and we are about to start designing our stuff. And I want to just basically show you how to just use this tool. When you install it, you have this environment like this. This is where you Explorer for you to view the pages of your site. You want to search for a particular item, and this is actually where you actually publish your item to Git. You understand? VS Code is a very powerful tool that allows you to do a lot of things. We can't go into the details of that now because we don't have all the time. So I will just go straight and show you how you can just use it to start your website. When you open your VS Code, you can come to File here to open a folder or open a file, depending on what you want to do. But we are starting a website afresh. What we want to do when we are starting a website is to create a folder. We all know how to create a folder just from our normal computer environment. You are on your desktop, you right click here and you create a folder. You understand what I mean? You can create a folder, just the normal way we do create a folder. And also from your VS Code, you can click on File and also create a folder, open a folder, open existing document. So we say open a folder. There is no folder you want to open, you can just click on new folder right from here. There are a lot of ways with which you can create a folder. Either you click on create a folder here, or you right click here and say create a folder. So I'm just going to click on this to create a folder. So we're having a project today. Let's call it say gold, because I'm planning we are going to do a website on gold rush. Let's call our project today Gold Rush. Okay, so I'm creating a folder and I'm selecting the folder to open the folder. So I have a plain empty page that I've created for my website. That's the first step. Now, my folder, if I go to my desktop, where is the place where I created that folder? You can see the folder is empty. There is nothing inside the folder. You can see it's empty. So I can come here and create a file. See, it's giving me untitled document. That is the second step of starting a website. When you click on that, you are having a file, but the file is not saved. So we want to save our file. You click on, go to File, and you go to Save. So we are going to call our file a name. You can give our file any name. You can call the file Kenny. You can give the file your own name. But basically, the first page of the website is actually called index. Well, maybe we forget about that. And let's just call the website a name. Let's call this file January. January.html. That's very important. That last part is very important. Adding .html. That is what tells the browser that the file is an hypertext markup language, because that is the language of the browser understands. That is the language the browser understands. Like you can see, our browser, Mozilla, Chrome, all of them, Opera, they are the ones that interpret our website. So that extension, it's what we allow your browser to interpret your web page. I believe we are all following. So when you are done, make sure you add the .html, you now save the file. I'm trying to take it slow because we are in the basic part that is very important for us to really understand. So the file has been saved as January.html. So we are good to go. I can actually type hello in this document and save and view in my browser. So if I go to my folder, the Gold Rush folder that I created on the desktop, if you remember, I can double click, right click on it and open it. If you are not seeing it like this, you can say open with Firefox, Chrome, or any of the, you can see it's giving me all the browser because it has recognized this file as an HTML file. So it's telling me, am I opening with the Chrome, Internet Explorer, or the Microsoft Edge? So I can choose any of these I want to open with. So if I click on that, you can see I'm having my hello, and that is our first page. I believe we are all together. Please, if you are with me, so that it won't look like I'm talking to myself. Just say good to go. Just type good to go because I'm actually good to fire on now. Okay, I'm actually typing good to go too. So let me pause a little bit. I want to be sure we are all together. Okay, Cyril, thank you. So I want to be sure we are all together because we're about to delve deep into this thing and it's very important for us to actually be on the same page. Are we together? Me, Anthony, Fola, Oloye, are we good to go? Okay. Okay. Ajayi, are we good to go? Okay, let me just assume we are good to go. Now let's go on. Now we have our page created, but in every language that you see, there are what we call the keywords. In HTML, we call them the basic tags. These basic tags are the ones that we use in actually structuring our web page, is to ensure that our content comes out the way we want it. They are keywords that we need to actually understand how to use. 10 years, 20 years, 15 years ago, when the language of HTML, you really need to know all of them before you can build a website. You need to know most of them before you can build a website. But with the advent of all these editors, they came with what we call the Intellisense. Intellisense is what allows, it guesses what are you trying to type for you. You can see, I started a tag, and it's telling me that, am I trying to pick any of these? I say HT, it's telling me, do you mean HTML? H, it's telling me H1, H2, or header, or head. Is that what you mean? That is what we call Intellisense. Intellisense predicts what you want to, try to suggest to you, is that what you're trying to type? So this comes already embedded with your editor that you are using. The moment you have already saved it with .html, that is the importance of actually saving your document before you start, one of the importance. So Intellisense is the one that gives you that. So there are some basic tags that need to actually go into your website before you start. And these basic tags, you need to type them one after the other because they are HTML. And in the HTML tag, we have the ed tag. We have the ed tag. So in the ed tag, we have the title tag. Just the title. And it gives me that. And in the title tag, I have after the ed section, I have the title. After the ed, in the ed, I mean, I have the title. Then after the head section, and then I have the body. Those are the basic tags that a website needs to have. So if I have my hello now, I will still have my website. Maybe let me add an H1. H1 is the one that gives my hello a big font that makes it big. So that is my H tag. But brothers and sisters, you don't really need to cram all this when you are using an intelligent editor like VS Code. All you just need to do is do an exclamation mark. When you see an exclamation mark, that is shift exclamation, that is shift 1 in most of the keyboards we have. Shift 1, then you see that exclamation mark, then you press enter. It's going to generate all those tags for you. I believe we are together. So you are able to just start your website and save and go ahead with whatever you want to do. Say hello to my website. So you can refresh. So that's all. So that's the first thing I want to show you, that particular shortcut key. I'm going to try to show you a couple of shortcut keys that you can actually use it. So that's the first thing. Then I would like to go to start from the top. This is telling us that this is HTML and the document type is HTML and the language for this is English. That is why we have EN here. Then the Ed section, that I'm highlighted, is the part of the website where we have the basic information about the website. This is where we have the description of the website. The title of the website is actually going inside the title tag. This is where you say, okay, welcome to the Gold Rush website, or Gold Rush official website. Okay. If you are going to notice, we are having something like document here before, but the moment I have that title here in the title segment, if I refresh my page, you will see that we have it here now, Gold Rush official website. So in the title segment, in the header is where we define the title of the website. Please note that. Also, there are some other things that needs to be said about the meta tags. We have different types of meta tags. We have the name, content. We have some other meta tag that allows us to define the content of the name of the website, the content of the website, the keywords of the website. So keywords. keywords, and we have the data of content. These are the ones that allow us to describe when you search for a website, for example, search for see good websites. You will see these descriptions, all the descriptions. They actually come in the space of these descriptions and keywords. These are the places you place all those descriptions. So I don't want to go into details of these things because of our time anyway. But you need to actually define the title, the description of the website, so that when search engines get a website, they will tell you a little bit about the website in the search engine listing. So also about the keyword is actually used also by the search engines to index that page for proper identification. So in a keyword, you include those things that are relevant to that website in the keyword section of the meta tags. So I would like to move on now because of our time. We have a lot to do. Now, I want to show us something about the structures of a website, the basics of divs and CSS. Let's see. I want to see how to organize this so that you will not be confused before we go and do our design. Before we go to design, then I want to show us a couple of things about divs. Cascading style sheet is the language that works with hypertext markup language, this HTML. Style sheets are written inside or outside, can be written inside or outside HTML. There are three different ways with which you can actually write HTML. Let me try to. We can actually write our HTML internally. Okay, let me do this by example instead of writing it. We can write it internally, externally, and inline. If I write my HTML, CSS inline, I'm writing it in the code, in the body here. If I write it internal, I'm going to write it in the head section of my site. If I write it external, which means I'm going to create a new file and I will save it as CSS, then I will write my CSS outside. I will come again because that may be a little bit foreign to us. Like I mentioned, cascading style sheet, that is CSS, is the language with which we use in styling, structuring our website. It works with websites. That is the best way I can put it so that you won't be confused. It's a language that we use in structuring our website in a way that it makes it more robust to manage, makes it easy for us to manage the content of our website. It's just like you have a service machine that's helping you to manage your website. By the time we go on, you will understand what I'm talking about. So, for example, I want to write a div, div. Div is just like I'm writing a box. It's just like I'm drawing a box. Div is like a box. You can see, let me remove this and go to my website. If I say div, what does that mean? Let me go to my website and let us refresh. You can see you can't see anything because there is nothing inside the div. But the moment I had hello, you will see we can see the hello, but we still do not see the div. You can't see the div because there is no definition for maybe the size or a color background or anything. So you can use a style. We're going to write CSS in the style. It's going to be in the head section of the website. That makes it internal to this website. And I'm saying div. every div that you see is going to have background color. I just type in background color, and it's going to say what's background color. I'll say orange, orange, and I will say the width is 800 pixel, and the height is 200 pixel. Okay, so let me saving the document. I will be using Ctrl+S now because it's going to be faster for me to do that, please. So I'm saving that, and you can see we have our div giving us a background color of orange, a width of 800 pixel, and height of 200 pixel. That is because we see div. Anywhere it says a div, it's going to give us that. So if I come here again, if I do another div, whatever the div, I'm not even going to write anything inside this. I just say div, and I refresh. Okay, you can see another div is there, even though you can't see the difference. But let me put a break. Let me put a break. Two breaks. Two breaks there, and I'm going to refresh them. I'm already having two breaks already, two divs already. So I have that. So that tells you that wherever I define a div, I'm going to have all these parameters: a background color of orange, a width of 800 pixel, and a height of 800 pixel. That tells you what the power of CSS. Applying the same program or it's the same code to different different tags or different boxes. I believe we are together. These are basic things that you need to actually understand before we go on. If you are someone that has not actually been programming before, you give a property. It's like we are saying these are the properties, these are your characteristics. Whenever you see a div, this is what must happen to you. So I believe we are together on that. So I'm also going to tell you something. We are going to create a class. Apart from you saying creating a div, I'm going to delete this. Another way you can define a property is by you declaring a class. I can define a class and give it some properties and apply these properties to a div. That is another way I can do this. Okay, let me do this. Let me go. Okay. Now, I want to create a class. A class is a group of functions, group of properties that you can define. Say the background color is white, the width is this, just like we have our yellow box here. It's like a group of classes, group of functions, group of properties that is now going to be given a name. If you see what we wrote here initially is not actually giving a particular name. Right. What we have here is not actually giving a particular name. It's going to affect all divs. But what if we don't want this to affect all divs? We just want to give it a name. If you want to give it a name, if you don't want it to affect all divs, you use a class. And you start a class with a dot. See dots. See box one. Let's see box one. I think we are getting there now. And box one, if you go to our page, you will notice that we might not get what we are getting before because there is nothing like a div again. Now, box one has been defined, and box one is having all these properties. So we can assign box one to our first div A. Let me try to increase the font of. Okay. Now I can assign this div to box one by saying class box one. You can see it's only box 1 that is having that property of a yellow background, 800 pixel box, and a height of 200, while box 2 is empty. So if we can now replace or reuse our code, in designing or development, most of the time we actually do a lot of code reuse. We call it code reuse. It's a standard. You are not expected to actually write everything sometimes. You do a lot of code reusing. So like you can see, I just copied and pasted this code and rename it as box 2. I'm renaming it as box 2. Maybe I'm changing the background color to, let me show you how I did that anyway. If you mouse over this color, it will give you a color palette where you can select a lot of colors and you can pick from. You can see it has actually changed the palette to that of alpha, and okay, I'm going to go into details of that later anyway. But when you want to pick that, when you are using your Visual Code, just mouse over the color palette. It's going to give you something like this, whereby you can pick any kind of color you want and can pick any color from this environment. So you can see we have a height. Let me change this height to 600 and let me save. And I want to go and refresh my document, but we have not assigned this to box 2 class box 2. So box 1 is with this and box 2 is assigned to this. So let us see our page. So we can see that we have different property assigned to those boxes and they are actually working very well. So we are writing an internal CSS file by putting it in the head section of our website. This is internal way of writing our CSS. So if we decide to write our CSS inline, we can actually come and write our CSS here. Instead of typing CSS and stopping at CSS here, sometimes we can actually write it here. What's the style? Background color. Background color is, let's pick this, and the height 300 pixel, width 800. I think that's all. Let's use the same color so that we get the same result. So if we delete this box 2, because we are now writing our code inline, we are writing our CSS inline. Let me save, Ctrl S, and let us refresh. You can see we have the same thing. So what we have been able to do here is that we wrote our CSS internal by putting it in the head section. We can also write our CSS inline here. That's another way to write our CSS. The third way I want to show you with which you can write your CSS is by writing it external. That means we cut this, the whole of this code. I'm cutting it actually, and we take it to a separate file that we created and we save as .css. But without this style, because we have already saved it as style.css. You can actually give it any name. You can give it any name you like. You can give it any name you like. So if you refresh, definitely, yeah, we have not saved this. Let's save it. You know, we already removed the CSS here, so it shouldn't work again. You can see we already removed it and we moved it out. external, that is external. So when you are writing your CSS external to your website, you are writing it in a separate file. This is a style sheet. This is your website page. You need to link the HTML page and the style page. You need to link the HTML page and the style page. I'm actually taking my time to explain this because these are the basics. These are the things you are going to be doing all the time when you are designing a website. CSS, you're going to be writing inline, you're going to be writing internal, and you're going to be writing external. Inline is when you write it in your page, in the body of your website, in the body. Internal is when you write it in the head section. External is when you take it to a separate file and you save that separate file as .css. You can give it any name you like, but you must ensure you link it in your head section. And how do you link it? You just click in VS Code, you just type link. It's going to give you the intelligence. Then you can press enter when you say link. So what did we call the file? We already saved this file in the same folder as our HTML. If I view all the file here. Oh, okay, let me view all the files. All files. You can see I have my HTML folder, the same place I'm saving my CSS. So they must be in the same root. If your CSS file is in a separate folder, for example, if your CSS file is in another folder, you must include that part to the file. Some developer, you will see it's actually the best practice for you to arrange your CSS file, especially when you start writing and you have a lot of CSS file. You need to put all the CSS file in a separate folder, your images in a separate folder, so that you arrange your code, you don't lump everything together. It's a very good practice. So we have style.css. So if you are putting in a folder, you just say CSS/style. Let's actually put it in a folder, but that's the best practice. Let me open my folder. I created the folder already. I just drag my file into the CSS folder. So it's in the folder. And also I want to create an image folder. We are going to need some images later. So let's go on now. Now, I've already linked my style sheet file to my CSS file. You can see the folders I created are already coming up on the GoodRush folder explorer on the left hand side. So I can open my file. So if I already linked it, so let me go refresh my page to see the difference. You can see now that I linked my HTML file to my CSS file, my code is running again. So these are the basic things I want to show us, and I'm sure we are all following. This video is recorded. If you know you are not getting it, you can always revisit the video to watch all over again. And there is opportunity for you to send messages so that we can answer your questions on the platform. So I would like to go to the next segment of this training now, of actually we have been able to create a basic HTML page, create external CSS file, create a style sheet, understand the basic of internal, external, and internal, external, and inline way of writing your CSS. I think basically I would like us to just complete this. Let me move this code to let me move everything outside. Let me move it to, well, that is actually the professional way of writing your site, ensuring everything is actually in a separate file, or your CSS file. Then a separate file like this. Okay, right. Okay, so we call class box 2. So you can see our website is coming up bit by bit. We want to just do basic structure before we go to the main we are going to do basic structure of a website before we go ahead and do a complete website, because by 9 we have to start that, by 8 rather, we have to start that. We are going to create a complete structure of a website. I'm going to reduce this to yellow, this orange to look like a website menu, then a website banner, and the body of a website and a footer of a website. Then because I want you to understand how to create structure before we go and do a proper site design, then we continue from there. So I'm going to replicate this box 2. So we need to have a box 3. And a box 4. So box 3 is all of them are going to have the same width, but different heights and different colors. So putting my mouse cursor on this, I want to give them different colors. And on this, giving this another color, so you can see the difference on our page. And also this, giving it a different color. Okay, deep wine. Now, I want to box 2. We want to make the box 2 like a menu, and the menu should not be, the height should not be that much. So we should have like, say, 40 pixel. The box 3, we want to make it like the body of the website, so we want to make it more. So we say 500. Then box 4 is going to be like our footer of our website, so it's not going to be much. So see 30. Then on our website that we have all the divs initially, we want to remove the breaks. The color will separate them, and you can obviously see what we have right now. Then we remove all the content we have inside. So we have box 2, box 3. You can see we are doing more of code reuse. Box 3 and box 4. I want us to do something very simple, easy for us to understand. You can see we had box 1, 2, 3, 4. And here you can see the code for all the boxes. The first box is all of them are the same width, but they are having different heights. So let us go and see our HTML page. You can see what we have. All of them are having their definition for each of the boxes there. So let us see our page on the browser. You can see what we have. Oh, box 1 and box 3 are still having the same colors. Let us look at that. Box 1 and 3 are having the same color. No, not the same color, but they are just close to each other. So let's try to correct that. Let's give you screen. Okay, so this is what we have. And I think it's a good start. It's not a bad start for us. This is the first thing we are able to do. And you can see what I'm noticing here is that our website is actually aligned to the left-hand side of the page. It's aligned to the left-hand side. There is a quick fix for that. That is something you have to understand. All these that you're looking at, we should put everything in a single div. In a single div. I'm cutting the whole boxes, all the boxes, and I'm tabbing it. This is called indentation. I'm indenting so that we know that all of these are inside this other div. You understand? So I'm writing another box. Well, I will not call this. Okay, let me call it box 5. Call it box 5. Box 5, that is box 5. Box 5 is having a width of also 800 pixel, and the height is, I would say, auto. Whatever is coming inside box 5 will determine what will be the height. You can see we are already putting all the other boxes inside box 5. And you know, if you want to calculate the height of box 5, it's going to be 200 plus 40 plus 500 plus 30. That will give us the height if I say auto, because it will be pushing it down. So, but one other thing I want to do, we are putting everything inside box 5, and I will call this first box, that is class box 5. Let's see what happens. Nothing happens, even though we put all the boxes inside box 5. So what else do we need to do? We need to add a function to box 5. You say margin right auto, margin left auto. Let us go and see what happens. Margin right auto. Are we sure? Oh, we wrote margin left. I wrote margin left, margin left, margin right, margin left. Okay, so we see our code, our site is centralized. Before we leave here, I want to do one other thing that is also very important. Body in the CSS page, actually. We are giving a background color to our page. And we are choosing a color. Just use a simple color, background color. Body is the whole page, the whole background. That is the body. That is what is referred to as the body. So what we are doing now is we are defining the color for the body of the website. That is what we are writing here as background color. And if you refresh that, you can see we are having a different color for our background. So that is that for now concerning building structures with divs. I just did this so that you understand how we name, how we reference, and how we create classes. I don't know if anybody's having questions. You can type your questions. That is not going to deviate us too much from what we are doing, because we are about doing a proper website, and we need to first do a design of that website in an editor before we now go ahead and convert it to a basic HTML. So you can go ahead and type a question if it's not going to deviate off totally from where we need to go. And type your question in the chat box. Hold on. Okay. Now I would like to go to the design of a website. Just like I mentioned earlier, that during the development of a website, it needs to be developed already in a storyboard format. You know where you are going with your website before you start. You will have done the preliminary development in a graphical user interface environment, design environment. That's why I introduced you to, I showed you Adobe Xd. Please go for Adobe Xd. And I think it's a very nice one to actually use. Layout. You can use layout to determine how many columns you want to have. If you want to have one layout, one column, and the width of that column from 0 to 4. So, for example, the background will be the background that we have there, and the internet. So all this you can do from the Adobe Xd. I've sent the video and the link for you to download Adobe Xd. But today I'm going to be using this particular software, Macromedia Geneva. Fireworks. It's actually also a picture editor. It does more. It does animation too, but it is not actually meant for this kind of work. Or because I can do a lot of things inside it, I prefer to use it. So what we want to do now is we want to do a basic website, and this is going to be the background of the website. And also, I prepare this logo. I prepare a couple of things so that I will not take too much of your time. We're going to be using this logo for our coal mine. We are designing a website for a gold rush or coal mine. This is a coal mine or a gold mine, rather. Okay, so that's going to be our logo anyway. Then we are going to have our menu. We're going to have a menu like this. I want to curve the edges of the edges of the okay. So I want to change the color of the image of this to black, and I want to fade it a little bit. Then I want to type some text that will signify my menu text. That's too small. I don't like this font. I like to change the font to something like that's too bold. Let me do Tahoma. About services, partners, career, we contact. So I zoom in. This is our menu. It is big. Reduce the font a little bit. So we are trying to use a graphical tool to design our sites. So we have our logo, our menu, then say we have a big text there. Okay, let me see. Let's do it. I'm going to be a big font, and I have a text. Let me copy a text from here, prepared already. Oh, that's big. What's that? Okay. Can use this font. So. Okay. Okay, so then I want to have a footer. Something that is similar to our menu at the top, or to our menu at the top, but it's just having some content. Let me reuse this. Reusing the text on the menu, copy and paste. Oh, all rights reserved, blah blah blah. Copyright, something like that. Okay, so we want to have something like this. This is what we want to design. I'm thinking we should be able to design all this. The moment you are able to do all this, we are going to learn a lot of things on the way while doing this. That's why I actually pick something like this to do. So we are going to learn a lot of things on the way to do this. So Let's go back to our VS Code and we're starting a fresh new project. Open folder, open folder, and a new folder. We are creating a new folder entirely, and the name of that project, that logo is coal mining. Coal mining. So let us name that folder coal miners. Coal miner. That is the title of the project we're about to do now. Coal miners. So before we start, let us create our first page. That is the index.php, index.html. I'm going to save it. Index. Automatically, it will go into the folder that you created, index.html. And also, I'm creating the CSS file. I'm calling it style. Control S. I'm creating in the folder coal miner. I'm creating a folder in that place called CSS. And inside the folder called CSS, we are saving it as style.css. Style.css. So this is our setup. We have our index file and we have our CSS file. Remember, in your index file, for you to have your basic tag, what do? Exclamation mark, shift exclamation mark, and you have this, then you can click on this to give you all your basic tags. Also, in your CSS file, you don't have anything right now, but you should link your CSS file to your HTML file. How do you do that? Link. Just type link. Just type li link or lin. It's going to give you this. You can press enter or enter key or keyboard, or you select link here. And remember that you're inside the Google file. Let me look for my folder, coal miners folder. This is it on the desktop, coal miner folder. In my coal miner folder, my CSS file is in my CSS folder. Yeah. So when you are linking your file, ensure that you put your CSS folder, that is the folder name, / style.css. Please, a simple mistake in your file name will not allow your code to run. If you make, instead of you writing style and you write STL or STLE, your code will not run and you may be there for a long time. You have to be careful how you write. You have to ensure you are writing the correct spelling for your file name. These are very important instructions. So the title for our website is what we have here. So as we have it, we can go ahead and check what our site looks like. It's very empty and the document type is still showing document. We have not indicated the name of our website. I'm sure we are together. Please, if we are together, before I start talking, please, where do we put our JavaScript if we want to make the page dynamic? We have not got to dynamics. JavaScript is always after the body tag. We have the header part, we have the body. It's after the body tag, that's where you put your JavaScript serial. Why is box 5 not visible? Okay, that must be a long question ago. Okay, now, okay, just keep sending your question. We'll treat it as time goes on. But I want to be sure we are all together. If we are together, just say we are good to go. Just tell me we are good to go, so that it won't look like I'm just speaking to the air or speaking to myself. Abdulga, you understand? You are going to encourage me. Okay, I like that. Good to go, good to go, good to go. All right. Let's fire on all cylinders now. Okay. Now I'm going to I'm going to just give the website a name, just like the name of the website from what we have here. We call it Coal Miners. Okay, we want to give our website a title so that we don't just continue to see these documents as the title of our website. Coal Miners. Whatever you want them to see as the title of the website, that is what you put in the title section of the web page. That's what you put in the title section of the web page. So when you get to the website and you refresh now, you can see you have the coal miner, and you can see this icon that is here. You can also add that if you have an image. You can have an image that is also can be added to the head section of the web page. All those ones, they are add-ons for your website. It's very important. So now I want to talk about HTML structure tags. There are some structure tags that actually come with the HTML5. They actually make development of your website very easy. They are called structure tags, HTML structure tags. They are basic tags, headers. The way we have our div. I showed you div the other time. The way we have our div. And we have to now say, okay, let me undo the last design we did. The way we have the design we did last, this design we did, the way we have this particular yellow part, the orange part, I mean, you know that this is the header part of our site, and sometimes it might actually represent where we have our slider. And we have the menu part, we have the body part, we have the footer part. The developers of HTML recognize all this, and they have been able to create some specific tags that are headers, their main, their body, their navigation, that makes it easy for developers to actually walk around websites. You understand? I don't know if you get me. So if let me just give you the example of that of a navigation. If I want to do a menu, if I want to create a menu, for example, so that you understand what I'm saying with this, let me go and do it with this. We'll get there anyway. Don't let me jump the gun. Get there. So just agree with me that HTML tags, there are special tags that we are going to be using now to work instead of using divs. We're going to be using them to work and develop our websites. And they are basic tags that is now common in most of the HTML5 templates. Instead of using divs, you just type your header straight. Header. Navigation. You can call it main, some use body, some use section, some use section, some use main, but the section sometimes may need to be in an article, but not necessarily. But you can use either of the section of the main. As time goes on, you will be able to choose which one you really want to use. But let us stick with main for now. And we have the footer. You can see their keywords, they already come with HTML. The Intellisense of the VS Code recognize all these tags. So you can see that this website that we created the structure using div the other time, and we defined the div box 1, box 2, box 3, box 4. You understand? 1, 2, 3, 4. We can just say header, navigation, section, footer, without necessarily needing to define them in the head. Although you can still go ahead and say you will still need to say header, but it will not see, you will not need to create a class for it. You can see it's not recognizing head, or if you put R, you will see it will recognize it. It will recognize header. It's already an inbuilt class. You only want to write properties for it. It's already recognized as an inbuilt class that you can use here. But you remember the other time, we needed to say .box1 before we now started writing the properties for that box. But this header that we used here is already an inbuilt class that comes with some properties that I'm going to expose you to, and you are going to get no more of them. By the time you start browsing and checking them online, you will see the properties that comes with header. You understand? You will see the difference later. So, so let us go on now. Let's go on. We start with the. I want us to start with the header. Yeah. Let us start with the header. Now, okay, let us view our. Let us start with the head. Let us view our page. We are already creating. Our page is going to be relatively empty. Going to the browser. This is our folder where we have our index file, and we open our file. Okay, it's already open before, and you can see there is relatively nothing done in our file. Remember, this is what we want to achieve. This is what we want to achieve. This is what we want to achieve. I want to do this basic page. I believe 45 minutes that we have left, which is going to be on, but I don't want to rush because it's very important for all of us to be on this page with this, because the understanding of doing this is what we are going to use next week in understanding templates, and because we are going to be working with templates next week, how to manage the website templates. Yeah, yes, done. So, okay, now we have our header and we have our style page. Our header, just like I told you, we don't need to put a dot before our header. We just type header, and let's say the background color is what we want to use. The background color, let's use black. But remember that the black is faded. Note something, my brothers and sisters. The last part of this particular color segment is called alpha. Is what we use in changing the transparency of the color black. You see, is what you use in changing the transparency of the color black. When it's at 0.0, that is total transparency. You won't see anything. It's going to just be looking at the background item. You understand? So I'm putting it at this particular 0.842. So let us view our page. Let me give it a width of let's say 1024 pixel, height of, let's say 30 pixel. I think that should be okay. That should be okay. Okay, so we have this for our header. So let's do same for all the other segments. And we have, I'm going to just reuse the codes, just like I told you, copy and paste. The next one is the nav. And the other one, we have the main and we have the footer. It's faster for you to write your code like that. And you can now change the colors. So let us change the colors. Let us change the colors. Let me remove the transparency for this. Then Let me increase the size of this to 70 pixel. Let me leave this one at 40 pixel. The body of the website, let's increase that one to 600 pixel. And the footer, that is the footer, let's leave the footer at 40 pixel. And the color for the footer, let's pick a color that is totally different for the rest. Let's remove the transparency. This is the last part that I told you about, is the alpha, is the one that determines the transparency of the color. Is the one that determines the transparency of the color you selected. Okay. Okay, so we have different colors for each one of them, and we have our footer. That is how to just develop with less code and code reuse. You can see we are just written this, and we are not using class like we did in the previous one, whereby we needed to call a class on each one of these. They are already embedded class. We are only adding more to their properties. That is what we are doing. We are calling header and we are adding more to the properties that it carries already. So let us refresh our page. So that's what we have. So basically, we are just doing what we did in the last class. We are just extending it. So I want to increase the size of the header a little bit. It's too small. Let me put it at 90. Okay, also what we did in the last class, we centralized it. We are also going to do that now, but we are going to use a different, we are going to write a class for that, because I don't think I know the actual embedded class that we use in doing that. Just like I told you, all we have done, we could have just done that with the same way we did in the last segment. So I'm going to write a class, I'm going to call it container, and I'm going to say margin left auto. If you remember, if I want to centralize everything on that page, I will say margin left auto, margin right auto. And I need to give it the size, the width. And to give it the width of 1024 px. Okay, so I'm writing that div, I'm writing a div where I want to put all my segment, all these elements, I want to put them in the container so I can use this, I can centralize the container. Because what I'm doing there, I could have add these properties to each one of these classes to centralize each one of them. But that would be like a repetition, and it's not going to make my code smart. But I can centralize just this container, and everything on that page will be centralized. So I'm going to call class container, because I've added all these things in the container, and the container has been centralized. So if I save now, and I refresh, I've not saved something. Okay, I didn't save this page. Control save. I save. So I have my page, but this is not where we are going quickly. We don't have all the time. We have just 7 minutes left. We want to embed an image in the head section. So this is where the work starts. Different from what we have done before. A little bit different from what we have done before. We want to use image in our website. So for you to use image, you need to type the image tag. IMG is the image tag. You can see it's coming up for you, and you press enter. I have an image that I saved here for the logo. This is the logo we are used in this design. So we are going to save that image in the same folder as the coal miner project. I'm going to create a folder, and I'm going to call it image, or rather images. So I'm going to save it as logo.png. So if you go to that folder, I have logo.png. So here, you can see what I'm highlighting here. I want to reference my image. My image is in the folder images / the name of the logo of that file. My logo is logo.png. If you have a logo.png saved in your folder and you are typing logo.jpg or GIF, you are not going to get it. It's not going to happen. So I save my file and I go to my page to refresh. But that's rather big. So what do I need to do? I need to specify the height. I can do an inline, my height. So either I write it here. That is the maximum height of that particular div for my header is 70. So let me go 50 pixel. Or rather, you go and reduce the image in the editor. You go and reduce the image from this place. It's either of the two ways. It's either of the two ways. But let us reduce here because we are writing code. You can use your code to do that. Let me see. 62. It's still big. It's still very big. 72 by 62. 57 by 49. 57 by 49. 57 with 49 pixel. Okay, so let us see. So it's okay, but I think I would rather go for doing this. I would rather do this. I will reduce my logo from my editor. Save it and do this. So that's that. Then I would like to centralize my logo. So we can do this from our header text align center. Text align center. Okay, I think we are good on that. So we don't need we want to remove the background image anyway. So let us remove this background image and let us move to the next. Okay. I think we have our logo. We are good to go. Now let us go to the body. Okay, let's do the menu. Quickly. So now the menu, just like the navigation that we have here. Navigation is actually where we have all the home, about, just like we have a home, about, nav, and they are always written using the A tag. So we are going to type the A tag, ahref. You can see it's already giving you the href. So you might need to just do copy and paste, or there are some shortcuts that you can actually use. Or there is a shortcut you can actually use for you can do A. If you want to have like you want to have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, you can do something like this, A*7, and you are going to have something like this. It's quite cool, right? So that's cool. So, or you can just go ahead and do your copy paste. But if you want to copy paste, what if you have like 20 of them? Just say A*20. That's cool, isn't it? So let's just do our about. All those shortcut keys used to be very sweet when you are doing about. What do we have here? Services, partner, career gallery. Services, partner, career gallery contact. There's no shortcut for that. There's no shortcut for that anyway. So linking a page from one page to the other, this is the index page. You know, if you want to now go from one page to the other, index.html. You are going to the about page.html. So I'm teaching you already how to link from one page to the other. That's how to do it. You need to pull the page. You are going to services page. So services.html. Remember, those pages are not existing. I'm just naming them for the future creation of those pages. So partner.html. So that's where we have all the gallery. Sorry, I'm just trying to be fast so that we can beat the time. We don't have all the time on our side. So there's a shortcut to do this anyway. I don't know that shortcut for now, but you can always Google it. Okay, so basically we have our links. So let us refresh. You can see we have our links here, but you can see this is not, it's not good. It's not looking good. So let us first the color. I might need to talk about specificity, because in this our nav, we want to actually talk about the nav in the A, that is all the links, all the A's, all the links inside our nav, all the A's inside our nav. That is the meaning of this when you want to talk to them, because on your website, that may not be the only place you're talking about a link. You may also be talking about in the footer area, you may want to say designed by this website is developed by Rate Teams, and is linked to giftrate.com. Is linked to a particular website, HTTPS. You understand? And if you say you want to, for example, you want this Rate Teams to be underlined, you can say it's going to be underlined. If you could have just written a simple style here, for example, you say you create a class, say no decoration or no decoration, and you write text decoration none, text decoration none. Then you apply it to this class. No decor. You realize that this is not having any underline again, but which means you have to do that for all the A links that are here. You have to copy and paste and do something like that. But when you do specificity, that's what I want to talk about, specificity. You don't need to do this. You go directly and apply it to every navigation under every link under the A record. Every link inside the navigation, sorry. Every link, everything that is a link inside this tag nav. That is the meaning of this. So you copy this to this place. We don't need this. Let me just that's how to comment out a code. So if I refresh, you can see it's going to affect everything because I specify by doing this. By doing this, I specify only items and it's not affecting this, still underlined. And I can go further now to now specify the colors. So color is white. Font size 16 pixel. Padding left 15 pixel. Padding right 15 pixel. So all this I'm writing is going to only affect each of these elements. Each of these elements is going to have this text decoration. It's not going to have an underline. The color I'm writing color is white. The font size is this. The padding is this. So let me save it and let us refresh our page. You can see, so it's only that is affected and it's not affecting that, all the links here. So now we can also talk about, I don't really like that font family, area. Let us see if we have area in the system. Okay, area is good. And there is a margin that we need to have at the top. I mean, it's getting too close to the edge of that particular link. So that will be done inside this nav because we want it to push everything at the same time for the div. So we need to put a margin, a padding. Meanwhile, I'm going to talk about the padding and the margin later. Padding top. Padding top, let's say 10 pixel. I don't know if that is going to be too much. And margin left. Actually, let us do a padding, and let me teach quickly. Trouble TRBL. That's TRBL. TRBL means top right bottom left. So if I write like this, if I write like this, let's say top TPX, top right 15 px, bottom 0 px, then left. Right is 10. I want to also make left to be 10. 10 pixel. Now close. So this, each one of them, just remember trouble, TRBL, that's the shortcut for trouble. It tells you what the top, right, bottom, and left. Top, right, bottom, and left. Same thing for margin. You can use this shortcut to remember that. So I'm using that to pad my menu. And I don't think it's not coming out the way I want it actually. So I might need to do padding top alone. Padding top. Padding top 0 here. Okay, so 0. So I only need the padding top. I will do a margin left auto, margin right auto. Because I want to centralize the content of that particular box. It's not centralizing for me, so I might need to. Oh, I don't need to use it. I just need to use text align central. Text align center. If you have any question, you can type it in the chat box. We'll treat it immediately after this class. We are almost done. I have 20 more minutes. Sorry. So we have our text, and our background color is actually supposed to be black. So let's change it to black, a transparent black. A transparent black with border radius. Border radius is one that gives you a curved edge of your box. 10 pixel. Let's do 10 pixel. That is the border radius. If you want to curve your box a little bit, it's too much. That's too much. That's rather too much. Let's do 6 pixel. 60. Oh, no, that's 6. Okay, I think that's okay. Okay, before we exhaust our time, I want us to go and do the background of this. It's very important. I want to save the background. This is the background image. I'm going to copy it to a different page. I want to copy it to a different page. Give it a black background, and I'm saving it as something else. I'm saving in the same folder we have the logo. A JPEG file, and I call it BG minor. Let me copy the name of that file. So, okay, why do I keep on here? So, I mean, in the container, we are not using it on the container because if you know, this is the container. Container is what we use in centralizing the whole content, but we want to use the background on the whole page of the website. So we want to put it on the body. Body, as you know, is a keyword. Is a system-based keyword, just like the header, the nav. So we don't need to put we don't need to put a class on it. So we are using background image, background image, say URL, type a URL, it's going to give you that. Then our image is in a folder called images / the name of the file and JPG. So let us look at our page. Something is wrong. Some background image. Background image. Let's see, did we save in the correct part? BG minor. Cool minor. Okay. Okay. Let me close this. I keep it minutes. Body URL images. We don't need that now. Body. Okay, let me give you the background color. background color. Let me give it a background color of black. Okay. So why is our background image not working? URL images slash. Okay. Sorry. Let's save it. .jpg. Everything is correct. That's what happens when you are coding. Everything will look good, but something is wrong somewhere. Eventually, you will see, oh, this is where I made a mistake. It happens all the time. Okay, don't let us waste time. We are going to get that later. Let us go and let us fade this background so that it will not be too dark. Don't want this to be too dark. We have to get that. Definitely must get that because it's important for our completion of our project. Okay, I think that is that about the menu and the logo. Then the body. The body is very important too. Now, in the body section, we just want to do a text. We want to write a text, and that's why we are supposed to spend much time here because we are going to be doing a lot of padding. We are going to do a paragraph. P is actually used for paragraph. That's when you want to type some text. You want to type some letters. So I have some letters here that I want to type. So I'm copying some text and we are putting them in the paragraph. You see in the main section, I'm adding the text. And if you go and refresh our page, you're going to see in the body. The body is where we have the green part. So we want to style it. Before that section, we are supposed to have a kind of header, like the title. I mean, what we have here in our design. Let's do it. That we use a paragraph, a header to do that. I think we looked at that that is using H1. Let's do it. Let's do it. Let's do it. So, but what we want to do now is more of styling our main to give us some space at the top. So we go to our main and we add some padding top. Padding top, we need some significant padding at the top. Let's say 50 pixel, 50 px. Quickly, because of our time, I have 13 more minutes. So we need to pad it at the top, then pad it on the right, padding top, right. Let's remove this. Top, right. Let's do 20 from the right. Let's do bottom. We don't need to pad it from the bottom, so let's leave that. I'm going to mute only. Okay, so so that is that about padding. Then let us refresh. So it's coming up a little bit, and it's tampering already with the size of our document. You can see that. So you have to ensure that you know the size you are using for your main document, which means you can see it's already tampering with. So we have to adjust that a little bit. Say 900. I don't think that would be too much. That up too much. $950. But there are faster ways to do that. Okay, let's go on with that. I think that will solve it for. Well, we need to still shrink this a little bit, but I want us to. We will not have time for that anyway. We will leave the menu like that, but let us do a little bit more on the text, like want to do line heights. Line heights, say 22 pixel. Font. I think we have done font styling the other time, so font style. Generally, fonts. Font. Font family. Let's use this. Then the color. We'll use white. Then the H. The font here, that is this. We need to increase the size of the H1 so that we have a bigger font or bigger family. So H1 font size, say 48 px. Color white. Okay. We need to remove the background color so that our image will come out. Our text will come out at the background. That is the main color background. Okay. All right. So that's for now. Let's go back to our background image. Let's see what is the problem. Just add this background to our container. Let's see what happens. Maybe the image is not properly saved. Something terribly wrong. Okay. Might need to save the image with another editor because I think the image is not properly saved. Get our image. PG image. I need to get. I don't have Adobe Photoshop. Adobe Photoshop will give us a an image that is not having any issue. Hold on, let me copy and move to the other. Let me get a file where I have a proper image saved somewhere. Excuse me. Still. Okay. Can you see my screen? If you can see my screen, please say yes. Hello. If you can see my C, just type good to go. Okay, good. Like Cyril is the only person I'm seeing giving me the thumbs up. Yeah, we're good to go here. There's nothing wrong with this code. The only thing that is wrong is the image prepared is having some challenges. It shouldn't be. Trying to get another image from somewhere else. Okay. Property. Okay. And that's actually the last thing we want to look at anyway. Everything is perfect. Everything is perfectly good. So just like you can see that if you use a background color, for example, if you are using a background color tomato on this code, for example, and you refresh, this is what you're going to get. So if the image actually is okay, I think the image is not okay. That image is not okay. If you use that image, you're supposed to get something like this example. Let's give it one more try. Okay, let me do an export. Export wizard. Let me use a higher quality for the image. Let me save it as just the BG. Image only. Look at the folder. It's BG. Let me remove this background. Save it. And refresh. Nope. Let me cut it and put it in the style. Okay. I don't know what happened, why it's not seeing our external style, but that's actually worked, but it should work, and it has been working. So I don't know why it's not working that way, but I'll look at it, why it's not working that way. So our paragraph that we have here, you can see is the only thing that is colors are not coming out. So we need to specify what paragraph does. Color white. And we're supposed to get white background here. We can see a repetition in the background that is coming. That's sorry, we are already, it's already 10 o'clock, but those are just the two last things I want to show us. When you have your body background like this, there are two things you should add to it, such a way that you don't get this. Those are the two things you need to add. You need to add background repeat. Background repeat, no repeat. That is the first thing. If you refresh, you see your background is not repeating again. You're just having one background. It's no more repeating. The other thing you need to add is this background right, background size cover. Because you understand that you are going to be developing your website for mobile devices and other stuff. You need to use those so that when your laptop, your website is going to mobile, Ctrl+Shift+M, it will not give those using mobile any issue to actually manage the image that you are using. So those are advanced levels in mobile development, such a way that we optimize our website for mobile devices. It's very important when you're developing a website. So I think with all this, I'm sure some people have some questions. Okay. Yeah, I don't no questions. So if you have any questions, you can drop it on the main group or send it to the or drop it in the registration platform on Prep Major website. There is a discussion part for each of the course you registered for. So you can drop your questions there. I'm expecting everybody to go ahead and practice all these things we have looked at today. And I'm sure we're going to meet next week to review this for a short time. Then we go to other things that has to do with developing a website using WordPress, how you can host your website, how you can move your website to online servers, how you can buy domain names and things like that. I will look at other things that we can look at because it's supposed to be an introductory class, and we are supposed to just introduce you. During the intern class, we are going to delve deep into development and testing and other things, whereby you work with other members of the team in order through the software development lifecycle. I'm sure you have learned a lot. Hoping to see you next week.